All right, welcome to video number 2, tutorial number 2, called selecting pixels. So we're still working with our basics in Photoshop here, building off that first video. So we're gonna talk about selecting pixels. So I'm gonna open up a picture here. So I'm gonna go File, Open, go to my PC. I realize you don't always have these pictures, but you can play along. And so I'm going to open up this image here called Shape Selections. Okay, so we're going to talk about the different selecting tools, and we're going to look at these shapes, and we're going to take and select pixels from one side and move them to the other. So first off, we're going to go to this top tool called the Move tool. Okay, used to move things. Straight down, the second tool is called the Marquee Tool, and if I click and hold on that, I can see the different types of marquee tools. We're going to talk about the rectangular and the elliptical marquee tool. Now, the rectangular marquee tool is a good tool if we want to select something like shape number 1. Okay, I can go ahead and I can click in the top left corner of this object, and I can select that square. Okay, it's not perfect, it's tough, it's kind of tricky, and I'm going to show you better ways to do this too, but for learning purposes, here we go. Now I still am on this rectangular marquee tool, so if I were to move this, I'm not moving anything but my dancing ants here, my selection, which we call dancing ants. If I place that back over though my square, and I go back and I grab the Move tool, I can actually take and move these pixels. I can click and drag and move those pixels over to my other side. Okay, when I want to get rid of the dancing ants, the selection, okay, I'm going to go Select, Selection Menu. This is all to do with selections. Select and Deselect, or shortcut Control D. Okay, so there I've moved that. Now, shape number 2. Okay, we're working with squares here, so we're going to use the rectangular marquee tool. And I'm going to take and I'm going to just select this top left square. Okay, like so. Now, there may be times you want to add to a selection. Okay, so to add to a selection, I'm going to hold Shift. And when you hold Shift, you will actually see a plus sign come next to your selection point. So I'm going to hold Shift, and now I can take, I'm going to go to the bottom right of this, and I can add to my selection, like so. And now I have selected that object. To move the pixels, I have to switch to the Move tool. And then I can take and I can move those pixels. And I'm going to go Control D to deselect. You can see it's not perfect. Okay, so let's go to shape 3. What will we do here? Well, I'm going to grab the rectangular marquee tool again. I am going to select that square. And now, to select the orange, I need to subtract these parts. Okay, so to subtract, I'm going to hold the Alt key. And I'm going to hold the Alt key, and I want to remove these blue pixels. I just want the orange pixels. So I'm going to go Alt, and I'm going to select the blue rectangle. Now this circle is tough. You got to go grab the elliptical marquee tool, because I'm working with the circle. I'm going to hold Alt again. And I'm going to hold Shift to keep in proportion, but this is tricky, really tricky. So, shoot, I'm going to go Control Z and undo that. I'm going to go grab that elliptical. I'm going to hold Alt. I must have let go of Alt. And I'm going to select that circle. I'm going to hold Alt again and try it again just to try to widen this thing. It's tough. I don't like this, okay? Alt and Shift to add and subtract selections is good. These are hard, okay? And there's a much better way to do this, but we are learning right now, so I'm just going to take and move this over. I'll show you a much better way to do this here in the future. Control D, undo it. Okay, so here's shape 4. How to select this? Well, we're going to just talk and teach tools, so I'm going to go to this Lasso Tool. Now, the Lasso Tool is just like a rope a cowboy uses. You can rope around whatever you want to select, whatever pixels you want to select. So I'm going to take, and I'm just going to click, and I'm going to drag and do the very best I can to select around the orange pixels, realizing that, you know, it's going to be basically impossible to do that perfect. Now, but I can make this better, okay? I can hold Shift to add or Alt to subtract. And I can see that, you know, there's a spot right here. Maybe you should add a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm just going to go inside of the pixels I've already added, and I'm just going to do a better job here on this edge. Drag and draw around that. I'm going to hold Alt. I'm going to go to the outside, and I'm going to drag and down that edge and circle those pixels I want to subtract. I'm going to hold Alt again. I start outside, go down that edge, hold Alt again. I start outside. Ooh, that wasn't very good. I'm going to go Shift now and get that little part back. Shift, get that little part. And you can do all of this better if you zoom in. If I zoom in really tight, I mean, you can see I haven't done that good a job. But I could do a lot better job if I was zoomed in. But I'm going to go back to fit screen here, and I'm just teaching I just want to teach you the tools at this point. So I'm going to grab the Move tool. I can take and move that over. Select Deselect or Control D again. Now, the next tool we want to teach, you can see that's not very good, right? Okay, we can do all these better, much quicker. We'll show you that here in a sec. But I'm going to show you the tools because there are applications for these tools. But let's go to the polygonal lasso tool, which would work good for shape 5. Now the polygonal, I like to say, it's just like playing connect the dots. You just click, and anytime there's a change of direction, you make a click. Click, click, we're playing connect the dots. Click, 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 click. Back to the start point where I'll get this little circle around my tool, next to my tool. Click, got it selected. Not going to work good for shape 6 because we don't have straight lines, we have curves. Okay, so I can then now take this, grab my Move tool, move it over, and place it on there. You know, to move more precisely, you can use your arrow keys like I just did. And I'm going to go select Deselect. Now, shape 6. We're going to talk about the magnetic lasso tool. Okay, it works like a magnet. It can tell differences in color of pixels. Okay, so I just pick a starting point on an edge here, and as I go around, it will automatically magnetize right around the orange pixels. Okay, I still want to do a pretty good job, but you can see it laying down. If I go back out here, you can see it laying down on that edge. It's smart enough to see that changing color. And then I go back to the start, click, there you go. Probably did the best job of anything here on that one. But that kind of takes some of the user error out of an unsteady hand or whatever. Works very good if you have two distinct colors next to each other, like this blue and this orange. I can click, grab my Move tool, drag, drop, Control D, got it. Okay, so those are some of the basic tools. You got your Marquee tools, you've got your Lasso tools. Now, there's some better ways to do this. I'm going to close this. I'm going to say no to save changes on this. And I want to open up a different image. So I'm going to go File, Open, and I'm going to open up this Balloon Magic image. Okay, so another way I can select an image. How would I select this balloon? I'm looking at it. Geez, this, magic wand. Yeah, that would work. But what's a different way I could do this? Well, we have another tool, fourth tool down. If you click and hold it, there's called a quick selection tool. And there's also called a magic wand tool. Okay, I'm going to select the magic wand tool. And with the magic wand, whatever color you click on, it will select that color. Okay, so if I click on yellow, it selects yellow. If I click on red, it selects red. If I click on green, it selects green. If I click on the blue sky, it selects all of the blue sky. Now, there's some settings here you can use, like contiguous, means only the color connecting to it. If I take that off and click yellow, it's going to find all the shade of yellow in the entire picture. So if I put that on, it's only going to find the yellow connecting to the yellow I clicked on. If there's any border anywhere else that's shutting this down, it's not going to be able to go find the yellow in the whole picture. So I'm going to leave that on, and I'm going to click the sky. Okay, and you'll see it just selected all the sky. There's some dots here, which is not good. So I'm going to try this again. I'm going to click down here. There, it did a much better job. The darker, a little bit darker blue was not grabbing the lighter blue down here, and that's why those little dots happened. So we had to pick a better blue as our start point with our magic wand to find everything. And you'll see we got the whole sky selected. So if I was to move this, we've got everything but the balloon selected. Okay. Now let's get that back wrapped around. So I'm going to go Control-Alt-Z, which is step backward. I want to flip this. I want to flip this around so it's on the balloon. So I'm going to go Select, Inverse, flip it. And I'm actually going to flip it. Now it's around the balloon. So now I have got that whole balloon selected. I grab the Move tool, and I've got the balloon selected, not the sky. So that is a good way, especially the magic wand's a great tool if you have a solid background. And I'm going to go Select, Deselect here. But now, that's a great way to select that balloon, select those pixels. I could take that balloon, move it to another place, move it to another graphic, got it away from its background. I'm going to close this now and say no to save changes. Let's go File, Open. I'm going to open up Apple Magic. Okay, so now another situation here. I want to select this apple and put it on this black background. How would I do it? What's a good way to do it? Well, I'm sitting pretty good because I got a green apple on objects that are blue and red. So, this is a good thing to try to select. So I'm going to go grab the magic wand. Okay. Now, there's a setting called anti-alias. And anti-alias simply means it's going to smooth those pixel edges when I select something. Okay, so I'm going to click on the green and the apple and see how I do. Ugh, not the best, right? Now, there's a setting on my magic wand called tolerance. How much green will we tolerate? Right now, the preset is 32. So when we click, it's going to find shades. It's going to only tolerate so many shades of green, depending upon where we click. If I raise that tolerance, it will be more tolerant and it will accept more shades of green. Okay, but it's still maybe not good enough. So let's try higher. Let's go 75 and see what we get. Getting more. Okay, let's try 100. Okay, it's doing pretty good. Let's try 150. If we click, yeah, see, now you click and it's tolerating into the red and stuff, so that's not good. It's tolerating too much at 150. So that's not good. So let's go about 125. What's 125 going to give us? Ugh, pretty good. We're just missing kind of the shine up top. Now, using a tool we previously used, we can get that. So this is a good time to go back and grab the Lasso Tool. Grab the Lasso Tool, and we're going to get those other pixels. Okay, or I could use the magic wand, and I could hold Shift, and I could click and add those points too. That would work as well. I'm going to go Control-Z. Okay, let's go back to the Lasso Tool. I could also hold Shift, and I can just select to add that to my selection. Got the apple selected. Grab the Move tool, move it over. There it is. Control-D to deselect. Grab the apple from the background, moved it to a new background. Looks pretty good. Pretty happy with it. All right, I'm going to close this. I'm going to say no to save changes. Let's go File, Open. I'm going to open up Vintage Lady Feather. Okay. Now, you might have an image where you want to take that image and you might want some of the background with it. And this is what we call a feather. Best tool to do this, Elliptical Marquee Tool. Okay, so on these marquee tools, you'll have a setting called feather. Right now it's at 0. Okay, so if I was to take this and select it, take that lady and move her over, there is no feather right there. It is a solid defined line. I'm going to hold Control, Alt, and click Z to bring it back. And I'm going to go Select, Deselect to get rid of the dancing ants. Now, I'm going to go back to my elliptical marquee, and I'm going to set a 30 pixel feather. And then I'm going to click and select her on that lady, her head and her upper body here. And I've set a 30 pixel feather. So it is going to feather out from that selection 30 pixels. Control D to deselect. And you can see it's got kind of a faded outside feather look to it. Hold Control, Alt, and Z to step backward. I'm going to get rid of this too, so select, deselect. Grab the elliptical marquee again. Let's say we set a 100 pixel feather. I'm going to take and I'm going to select around the lady again here. I always go from like top left. And then I move that over. There's a 100 pixel feather. So it's going to feather farther out into the image. And it's going to take, you're not getting all of the picture either. So you got to kind of experiment with your feather settings to get what you want to get. Okay, let's close this. I'm going to say no to save changes. File, Open, and I'm going to open up this Eagle Quick. Eagle Quick. Okay, so I want to select this eagle. What can I do? All right. Well, you got another tool with the magic wand called Quick Select. Quick Selection tool. Okay, with that Quick Select tool, I can click in like Paint, and I can select things that will have a light color, kind of using a brush, and it'll just grab the color that I'm hitting. It's a lot like the magic wand. Now I have everything selected but that eagle, so I got this selected. If I want to get the eagle selected, what do I need to do? Well, just like before, we need to go Select Inverse to flip it. Flip it so it's wrapped around the eagle. Now I can take and I can grab that eagle. So now I got the eagle. So now if I want to put this eagle on a new background, I could go File, New, and I'm going to take and I'm going to set this at 1000 by 1000. Press OK. Well, I'm going to go background. Oh, hey, hang on. Let's cancel this a second. I'm going to change the background color to, I don't know, let's just say red. Okay, so there's my background color, red. File new. Let's go 1000 by 1000. Set the background contents, the background color, so I have a red background. Now I can take this eagle, I can grab the move tool, grab my eagle. I'm going to go hover on this tab here till it becomes active, pull it down, drop the eagle onto the red background. So it allows me to take that image and move it from one place to another. Quick selection tool, a lot like Magic Wand. Select a solid color really quick. Can really help you speed up your selections and make that happen a lot quicker for you. Alright, so now let's go back. Let's go File, Open. Let's open up Shape Selection. Here it is. Remember we did these? Well, what's the easiest way to do this now? Okay. If we're going to do this in real life, I'm not going to use these tools. I'm going to take the Magic Wand, click the orange, grab the move, and go. Grab the Magic Wand, click the orange, grab the move, and go. You know, that's by far the best way to do it because it's a solid color. It's when you have an object that has multiple colors that you get to where you start to need some of these other tools. You got to be a little more crafty. I'm going to close this. Let's get out of this. I'm going to go File, Open, and I'm going to click on Select Balloons. How would we select these balloons? You know, it's tough. You gotta think of like, well, what would we do here? Magic Wand. Okay, let's get the tolerance back down, because if I click this, it's gonna go probably into the balloon, and that's tough. Okay, so if I go to, let's say, tolerance of 50, click the blue, it's still kind of struggling. Click this area, tough. I can click here, hold Shift, and add to my Magic Wand selection. You know, now I'm kind of getting somewhere here. You know, and I might not do this perfect the first time, but we can get this to work. Let's click in here and get those pieces of blue. And let's go select Inverse. So now it's wrapped around that. You can see up here this part of the balloon's not very good. We need to add that back. So I'm going to go grab my Lasso Tool. I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm going to get this back added on here for us. Get this little piece on here. In here is tough. You know, you see how tough those are. There's a little piece up here I don't like. I'm going to hold Alt, and I'm going to get that piece deselected. But let's just take and move this and see what we got. All right, so we're doing okay here. Now, one thing you can do, I'm trying to get this alone, these balloons. So I'm going to copy these. I'm going to go Edit, Copy. When I do that and I go File, New, you'll see Preset Clipboard. It automatically copies the dimensions of that selected object. So I can press OK. I'm going to put a transparent background because I don't want anything solid behind me. Transparent, and I'm going to press OK. And now I can actually go Edit, Paste, and there's the balloons. And they look pretty good. You know, you can't really tell. You know, I know there's some flaws in here, but we did a pretty good job actually. That's pretty good. I can move this onto almost anything and use these balloons in another picture. All right, so let's close that. Say no to save changes. Let's close this. Say no to save changes. Let's go File, Open, and let's open up Checkers Select. Okay, so how would we get all the white selected? What would we want to use? If it's me, I'm going to click on the Magic Wand in any of these situations, and I'm going to click the white. I should have all the white selected. If I wanted to select the red, I'd click red. What if I wanted each red? Okay, well, I'd probably deselect contiguous, click red. It's going to find all the red in the image. What if I wanted all the blue? Well, I'd kick one of these blue, have contiguous deselected, it'll select all the blue. What if I want everything but the blue? Well, I'm going to go select inverse. It'll get everything but the blue selected. Okay, and this is just kind of how you got to think when you're making selections. Like, what's the most logical way and quickest way to get the pixel selected that I need to use for my image? Okay, so let's close this. Let's go File, Open, and let's open up Girl Feather. Let's take this girl, let's put her over here. Okay, so now if I was going to do this with the feather technique, I'd grab the elliptical marquee. I know I want to use a feather that's around, you know, with this image, I'm going to go like 20 for my feather. I'm going to take and go to the center of this girl as best as I can. I'm going to hold Alt and Shift, which allows me to drag from the middle out. Alt goes middle out, Shift keeps it a perfect circle. And I'm just going to drag out from the middle of this girl's face. I'm going to go to about there. Then I'm going to grab the Move tool and drag and drop and move it over. Okay, so that would be a good technique for taking this girl's face. Why is it red here? Because the wall's red. That's my background color. So I'm going to go select deselect. I'm going to go Control-Alt-Z and knock back up here. Control-D to deselect. Now, what if I wanted to select this girl herself? This is going to be tough. Why? We got white. She's got a white shirt on. Okay, into a white background. It's going to make it really hard. But how would I do it? Well, there's a lot of ways. I could use the magnetic lasso. I could start here on this point. Find the difference in color. It's going to be shaky through here. I know that because of that white strap. The hair makes it tough. I mean, this is going to become pretty hard to do. I'm just going to do it fast. The hair is going to be tough. The whiteness is going to be tough. Come back all the way around the bottom here. But you can get the her basic shape. Now I could grab the Lasso tool, hold Shift, and add these parts that I kind of missed. I don't get too wound up about if things don't go very good right away, because I know I can always fix it. You know, her hair, I'm going to fix that up top. Maybe add this little piece of hair here. You know, this is tough. These are tough into here, you know, so we'll grab them. Let's move her over. That's not too bad. Select, deselect. You know, the one glaring problem I see is this white in her hair right here. How I would get rid of it, I'd grab the magic wand, I'd click that white. Oop, it's not what I wanted. Select, deselect. Make sure you got contiguous on. So you only get that spot, not all the white in the entire picture. And, oh, I didn't want to do that. I'm going to press delete. Press OK. Get rid of that. Select, deselect. Yeah, you know, you can see that image. You could spend a ton of time on this image to try to get it perfect. And it's going to be kind of tricky to do that. But, you know, we didn't do too bad. You can see some white here. I maybe want to delete that. Press OK there. Select, deselect. It's not bad. I mean, if you just look at it, it looks pretty good. But if you really look at it hard, you're going to see some flaws in it and be able to tell it's a little off. But that concludes my beginner selection on selecting pixels. Showed you some different tools. Talked about feather. Talked about the wand and the lasso tools, the marquee tools. at least will give you a basic idea on how to select objects and move them, you know, from one place to another, and to do a good job on